17 after 7. Hello again and thanks for staying with the AM report. Johannesburg's Municipal manager, that's Floyd Brink, says preliminary investigations have revealed that an accidental leakage of a natural gas pipe may have caused the explosion in the Joburg CBD. One person has died, scores others were injured when Lilian Street, which is formerly known as Brink, exploded during peak hour traffic on Wednesday. At the same time, the city of Johannesburg has confirmed that one person died yesterday in a gas explosion in Bromfisherville. That's in Soweto. That incident is believed to be linked unequivocally to illegal mining. Let's get your sense of what to make of these developments. Bring in our guest, toxicologist Dr. Gerhard Verdoorn, and joins us via our video link. Also, Ernest Mulibana, from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy is a part of our discussion. To both our guests, it's lovely to have you on the program. Thanks very much indeed for making time. Dr. Gerhard, I wonder if I can begin with you. You know, that blast we saw in the Joburg CBD is said to be quite uncommon. In fact, you don't see that often. But from the visuals that you've been able to see, at least from that CCTV footage, which I hope you caught sight of, what kind of gas would cause that kind of explosion? Or is that too difficult a question to answer?
No, I think that's a very fair question. You must understand that in South Africa, millions of our citizens use normal natural gas for cooking and for heating in homes. And the two gases which are most commonly used are the low liquid petroleum gas, which is the one you find in the normal gas bottles, which is propane gas, and then also methane gas, which is the natural gas. That's what we refer to mostly as natural gas. So both of those gases are highly flammable, they're very combustible, and when they get into the right mixture with oxygen, they can cause an explosion. And what it appears to what happened in Joburg was there must have been some form of a gas leak, either propane gas or methane gas from a pipe underground. And what happens then when the gas gets into a critical mixture or critical mass with the oxygen mixture, the slightest of a little spark can then cause that auto-ignition, and it's an immediate explosion like you saw, which can cause massive damage. But from what I see the footage, that it wasn't like there was an enormous amount of gas, because if there was really a massive volume, there would have been much more damage. So that is my summary, what I think would happen in that situation in Joburg.
Goodness, if it wasn't a lot of gas that caused that kind of damage, I shudder at the thought of what could have happened. People who were there in the aftermath of the explosion itself described this kind of rotten smell in the air. That's been associated with sulfur, if my chemistry is anything to go by. But I wonder if that kind of scent gives us any clues.
Yeah, well, you must understand that both the natural gases, namely the propane gas, which is more synthetic of nature, and then the methane gas have no odor, because they basically hydrocarbons. So what the manufacturers do, they add a little bit of hydrogen sulfide, like a very small percentage, so that in the case of a gas leak, people can detect a bad odor, and they know there's a gas leak, and they vacate the premises in case of the gas becoming flammable and causing explosion. So even if you use your own little gas stove at home or your gas fry at home, when you ignite it, you will smell that bit of sulfur there. It's not actually sulfur you smell, it's hydrogen sulfide, which has that rotten egg smell. And obviously, because of the smell still hanging around, it means there's still a gas leak of some nature in the area. The fortunate thing is that the area is now open. In other words, the place where the explosion happened is perforated, so the road is damaged and the gas will dissipate into the air. So I really believe that the chance of a second explosion is not that good, so I'm not too worried about that. But understand is that it tells you that there is still a gas leak going on if people get that rotten smell in the air.
Yeah. And let's just bring it into this discussion now. The department has released a statement, I think, essentially ruling out illegal mining, at least in the city center, partially because we don't know of any kind of activity of that nature close to the CBD. With that out of the way, what questions are you asking?
And good morning, and good morning to viewers at home. We, as the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, of course, have noted the devastation caused by the explosion in the city of Johannesburg, and can confirm that there are no old mines in the area at which the explosion occurred. We are, as the department, cooperating with the investigations that are underway, and we are confident that the relevant authorities, which include the Department of Labour, the Gauteng Provincial Government, and the City of Johannesburg, will be able to determine the actual cause of the tragedy. So we stand by. We are ready to participate in any form of investigation that needs to discover what actually happened here. But we do confirm, firmly so, that there was no old mine in the area at which the explosion occurred.
Yeah. I suppose there's going to be questions around whether or not any use of, I don't know, some kind of dangerous gas in the Joburg city center is taking place with the knowledge of the department. Help us think through what the law does and doesn't allow when it comes to the use of specifically gases for whatever purposes in places like the Joburg CBD.
So the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy authorizes the sale of LPG, so would issue a license for wholesalers, will issue licenses for companies that need to sell gases. However, in terms of regulations, the bylaws, the city, the municipality laws kick in to make sure that these gases are used safely. If you are to have a gas, for example, for domestic use, the city laws will tell you where to put the cylinder, for example. So it will do the same in this kind of instance, where the pipes must go and how the gas must be made sure that it is safe in and around where it is supplied.
Sure. There's going to be a lot of questions, Dr. Gerhard, around where the gas obviously comes from. You know, Igoli gas, I think, was the center of the focus. In fact, these were the words of the Premier yesterday, who said that they are focusing on Igoli gas. But as far as they're concerned, they're not seeing any kind of changes in their pressure, so they reckon this is not from their own infrastructure. But again, when you look at the nature of that explosion and how it happened, one almost gets the sense that if it was from a gas leak, the leak itself must have been close to the surface of the street. If that is the case, is that standard practice, or would you expect those pipes to run much deeper underground?
No, I don't think we have to worry about where the pipe runs from. The city who supplied the gas well for, I would guess, for the last 80 to 100 years to citizens in Joburg, because the pipes are very strong, they're intact, and you hear now that everybody can still get the gas. So I firmly believe that the city is correct in saying that the gas leak was not from them. And if there were other pipes that were acting as conduits for transporting gas to other premises, like, for example, fast food restaurants or restaurants that use the gas, those would have been in like a concrete or a brick and mortar conduit under the street. And you don't have to go very deep with that, because the expectation is never there that you will get a gas explosion, because the pipes are made from steel, they're very intact, it's well regulated, they've got breather valves in case there's an overpressure, and I think it's well controlled. So for me, it's a mystery. I don't know where the gas came from, but my take is that there must have been a slow leak that built up the gas over a period of time, and that's what caused the explosion. But I do agree that I don't think that the infrastructure that was which is used by supplying the citizens from either Sasol, which I believe is part of the gas supply, and also the city, those were intact, and as we heard now, that the gas is still supplied. So I do not believe it comes from that. It might have been from some other company or some illegal people. You know that the center of Joburg is full of foreign alien people, and some of those might have made a plan to try and get gas sold to people by using a pipe or whatever, and we don't know. To me, it's an absolute mystery, honestly.
Yeah. Look, I mean, that may be a mystery, but, you know, the effects of illegal mining certainly aren't. And as we're digesting what's taking place in the Joburg city center, we heard about this blast in Fisherville, Ernest, which is unequivocally linked to illegal mining. Once again, you know, this scourge, rearing its ugly head. And I'm quite frankly not sure where else to take the conversation, in a context where we've spoken about illegal mining for quite some time, and in a context where, interestingly enough, the Premier of the province has come out to say that law enforcement is completely unable, they're incapacitated when it comes to responding to this, at least meaningfully. Is that a sentiment the department shares?
So we've also noted the reports about another explosion in Fisherville yesterday. But in terms of deployment of resources and ability to tackle the illegal mining issue, the police would be able to, speak for themselves on this particular one. I do recall the mission of police, I think in Gauteng province, coming clear that they have enough resources to be able to deal with this, but safe to say that they can articulate on this issue for themselves. But I must just say that illegal mining is nothing but a criminal matter. The police must investigate and bring to book those who are found to have broken the law. And of course, as the DMRE, we are gravely concerned, and as any South African should be concerned at the stage of illegal mining. And this is simply because of the challenges that it brings, to our economy, that it compromises not only the health and safety of our communities, but also puts at risk the integrity of infrastructure and undermine our national security. So the police and the law enforcement agencies are dealing with issues of illegal mining, and I think we can all, as South Africans, participate in this fight. It is not only a government fight, it is a fight that we all must take part in so we can all win.
Yeah, it might be a tall ask for people who have no idea how illegal mining works, but don't you think it's a bit unfair to leave this solely and squarely at the door of police in a context where we know the Mineral Resources Department itself has had instances where they've conceded that perhaps the state in which some unused mines is left has also opened up a door for illegal miners to swoop in?
Yes, that's the reality that we face. We have derelict and onerous mines in South Africa. You can imagine our mining economy started more than 140 years ago. So we have a number of derelict and onerous mines, which some of them might still be opened and could, entice illegal activities. However, the department has got a program for mine rehabilitation, and that program is currently being rolled out, and we are investing some financial resources. For example, as the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Minister Verdoorn alluded to during the tabling of the budget vote speech in Parliament in May this year, we have budgeted around 140 million rand this financial year to seal or rehabilitate 9 mines and seal off 120 shafts across the country. This is work in progress, and we're making some inroads, but we believe that community members where these illegal mines live and mingle around must participate in reporting them to the police and just making sure that these activities do not happen at all.
Ernest Mulibana is with the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. Thanks for your time. Also joining us there is Dr. Gerhard